Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. How are y'all doing? So, have any of you guys ever heard of this show? You might have heard of it called Supernatural. My name's Emily Expo. I'm the mascot for the show, but please welcome Misha Collins, Mitch Pileggi, and Mark Shepard. Have a seat, guys. How y'all doing? I meant them. We already heard from Misha this morning, so we don't need to talk to him.
I'll just sit this one out.
I want to hear what you have to say.
Just ask us exactly the same questions.
How are you guys doing? Are you enjoying the show so far?
Is that for you, Misha?
I'm sitting this one out.
You are?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
It's
Don't be difficult. Okay. Just don't.
Sorry.
I haven't been on the show for a couple seasons, so how are things going?
It's not that long.
It's
Wait,
been-
not
yeah,
this
it has
show.
been.
Not that show. This show.
Here.
Huh?
This show.
Calgary.
Oh, this show.
The convention.
This show.
These people who love you.
That's great. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for being here, paying attention to us.
Have you guys been to Calgary before, or is
I
this
came to Calgary by accident once.
That's how it usually happens.
I was on my way to Vancouver.
And you got lost.
I know, they sent me to Calgary. I had to go to the milk run to get round. I discovered that the customs and immigration people at Calgary airport are very different than the ones in Vancouver. I came up there and I was doing my usual sort of slick West Coast crap. And I sort of saunter up. And she goes, this diminutive lady behind the counter goes, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm going to go do a TV show in Vancouver." "Only if I let you in." I'm like, "Okay."
Has that been your main experience with Canadians, or
No,
you found a
women
sweet
in general.
Oh.
Actually, that quote would be absolutely perfect for
It works. It
So,
works.
so if I only let you in is pretty common.
"Only if I let you in" is pretty common, yes. Hell yes!
Oh, whoa.
I was in Calgary one night previously. I was going up to the Canadian Rockies, and with my girlfriend, we flew into Edmonton. We got in.
Everybody here is from Edmonton.
That's exactly what we said when we landed. And we got in kind of, in the evening, and we decided, it was like 9 p.m., and we decided, you know what, let's just head out tonight. So we hitchhiked from Edmonton, and this guy picks us up, and we get in the car, and we're on the highway. I don't know what highway it is, but it's a highway, long stretch of highway between Edmonton and Calgary.
It's like 1 or 2 or something.
Late at night. And the guy starts saying, you don't really want to, we were going to Banff, I guess, and he was like, you don't really want to go to Banff, do you? I've got a cabin way out in the woods here. Why don't you come to my cabin with me? And it was a barren highway. There were no other cars passing in the other direction, and I became terrified. I was like, this guy is for sure, 100%, definitely going to kill us. And he kept going on. He was like, you wouldn't be the first couple that I brought to my cabin. And I was absolutely as terrified as I've ever been.
But did you say yes?
No, we were like, oh no, really have a lot of people who are expecting us. In fact, we need to get off as soon as we see the next gas station, because there's people waiting for us there, trying to trick him into thinking that everyone knows that we're in his car already. And then it comes up for some reason that he has a colostomy bag strapped to his leg, which he shows me. And all of a sudden, all my fears evaporated. I was like, I can probably deal with this guy. So for some reason, that colostomy bag gave me great reassurance. And then he dropped us off ultimately in Calgary, and my dad came and picked us up.
Is that a true story? It sounds like a
Total
movie
100%
script.
true.
He doesn't make that stuff
I
up.
don't make that up. I wouldn't lie.
I don't know if I believe that.
You should hear the stuff he makes up.
There would have been a unicorn in the story if I was making it up.
How about Mitch? Have you spent any time in Calgary? Much time in Canada?
I did a pilot outside of Calgary. We stayed in Calgary, but now, do they say Calgary or Calgary?
Calgary.
I'm sorry.
They're Canadian. You can
one
say
at a time,
anything you
one at a
want, and
time,
they'll be
please.
polite about it.
No, because I've got my brother-in-law. My wife is Canadian, and
Only if I let you in.
Canadian women are awesome. Oh yeah, only if they let you in.
I'm glad somebody thinks so, unlike this one here.
But yeah, no, I did a pilot here called The Mountain that we ended up shooting in Vancouver. It was about, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, something like that. So I did spend some time here, and my brother-in-law was working in Canmore for a while, so we went to visit him, and it was cold. It was very cold, but it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then we went to Banff and went to Lake Louise, and it was it's beautiful, beautiful country.
Cabin in the woods.
Cabin in the woods, colostomy bags. It's all there.
So Misha has told me stories about how he's been a victim of Jared and Jensen's shenanigans on set. Have you guys had that similar experience on the set of Supernatural?
It's a given. It's a given that you're going to be abused by those two if you do the show. I was sitting there when I think one of the last scenes before, when they killed me off for about the 20th time. They finally, is he dead? Is he dead yet, please? But I was after I got electrocuted, and I was sitting there on the ground, and I was supposed to be acting dead, and my wife and daughter were on the set, and they got a real kick out of this. But Jared thought it was hugely funny to sit there and smack me in the back of the head with the electrical cord that I had been electrocuted by.
They think it's funny too.
They thought it was. Well, there you go. You've got their sense of humor. But it's pretty much a constant with those two, and it makes it so much fun. Those guys are the best. They're so much fun to be around and work with, and they've got. I'm sucking up. I'm trying to bring back Samuel for the 8th time. No, they're a lot of fun to work with.
Anything to add?
Are you talking to me now?
Yes, I'm talking to you. Well, you do hate Canadian women, so
I
don't
love
know
Canadian
this.
women.
All right, well,
You got Trisha Helfer
yes, we do have Trisha.
in red.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Very smooth.
Do they play with me and give me trouble? Yes. The big one shakes me at will. Picks me up and shakes me at will. Well, he's no better. He jammed a bag of honey in my face the other day. Trying to do a serious scene. At least they haven't got their foot in my crotch. It's weird, man. It's a weird show. It's a weird show because when you try to be really serious, I was sick. Like, I was doing an episode that may or may not be on next week. Unless, of course, I'm dead and who knows, anyway, whatever. But, and I was really ill. I had 103 fever and tonsillitis. And I had to go to the doctor on the way to the set. And they're like, you need to go to bed. I'm like, I need to go to set. So they couldn't give me the really good drugs because then I would have just gone to sleep. So I'm waiting to be able to take the really good drugs to knock me out. And I'm sitting there in the freezing cold for an hour and a half and comes up to my part and I start doing my side. And Jensen just looks at me and goes, can we get somebody else to do the lines? I can't hear them. They're mean. They're mean to me. They're mean.
Mean?
They're mean. But they're big. I mean, you know the little one? He's not little. He's big. It's not like he's not like, I mean, they're not all short, right? He's big. They're big. They just pick me up and shake me and push me and kick me and stuff. It's not fun.
So how does that atmosphere, and Misha, we touched on this earlier, differ from the set of 24 for you guys?
Oh, that's right. We all have that in common.
We're all on 20. Is it a 24 panel now? Okay.
24?
I'm going to ask you the same thing about X-Files.
Okay.
Is it 24?
No, I never did 24.
Oh, we did 24.
Just those two.
So guys
So
talk
you
about
two did it. You
Those
did the
two,
X-Files.
yes.
We
You
did
talk about
X-Files.
X-Files, and then we'll talk about 24.
Oh, let's just switch. I'm sure there's 20 shows we've all done.
They're all the
together.
same.
It's the same show, isn't it? I give the same performance in everything that I'm in.
And
Apparently.
performance is a strong word.
See what I mean? I rest my case. 24. Look, Firefly is notorious for the fact that it was cheap shot. That was a cheap shot.
You said the F
Good one.
word.
I was on a plane with Nathan yesterday, and we were talking about how it was different, and it really was different. It was such an intense experience. We were doing so much so quickly, but everybody was really, really close. And when it ended, it was a shock to everybody. And then I didn't really get that feeling until I went to Battlestar, and then Battlestar has that same thing where everybody's in it together, fighting to get it done. And then you get to Supernatural, and you realize it's really hard to get everything done that we want to get done, and the boys just make it harder. No, but
Oh, they do.
it is.
Don't shake your head, no, they do.
They do, but because it's when you're doing something that's hard to do and it takes a lot of time and a lot of intensity. The play is hard, but the fun is hard. You know, it has to be.
Recently, Jensen, you know those little gum packs, the blister pack of gum that, I don't know what it is, like Dentine ice or something,
Yeah.
that come in those little sort of
Push-out
plastic and
things, right.
push-out things. He took one of those and put it in the eyepiece of the camera with the sharp angle edge pointing eyeward. And the cameraman, poor Brad, was like, all right, brother, and stuck the thing in his eye and was like, so literally, and Jensen felt terrible and bought him a bottle of scotch, and his eye is okay, but it could have not been okay. You know, that's the kind of thing, like when you're poking out the cameraman's eye, you know you're sort of encumbering production a little bit.
He was. Jared
felt
is supposed
bad about it, but it
Jared's
was a
supposed
point-
to be giving me off-camera dialogue, and he's busy
tweezer thing?
adjusting the camera.
Oh yeah, well he also poor Brad. Brad suffers more than any of us, but Brad will be behind the camera. And when you're doing off-camera dialogue, this is very technical, and I don't expect you to understand it, but it just means the other guy that you're not seeing talking at a given point. They stand right next to the camera so that your eye line is taken toward the camera, and that means you're right next to Brad, the cameraman, a lot of time, which means that Jared is right next to Brad, which means that Brad is suffering. For instance, one of the things that he loves to do to pass the time while he's doing off-camera dialogue
Changes gears.
is,
pair of pliers.
change the focus, obviously, or
Pair
take
of
a pair of
pliers.
tweezers and pull out Brad's ear hair.
He put his ear hair out, and his nose hair with a
Yeah.
pair of pliers.
And Brad is holding the camera, so he can't move, and he can't even laugh, and he can't fight back, and he's completely defenseless. He's like a tiny baby rabbit. And that's when Jared likes to kick you, you know, when you can't fight back. And of course, it's very difficult to do your on-camera
Yeah.
performance.
So you're
when
trying to be
watching-
serious,
when
and
you're
this-
watching Brad be tortured like that, because all you want to do is laugh. It's kind of funny.
So when you see the gag reel is full of our reactions to what they're doing behind the camera. So, you know. You got it too. You're on
Mitch,
a gag reel.
has this been your experience, and how does that compare to X-Files?
Well, you know, fortunately, when the crew that we had on, the crew that they've got on Supernatural, most of them were the same crew that we had on the X-Files, which was for me just such a luxury to go up there and work with those people that were, you know, a family, were my family for 5 years. So that aspect of it was constant. And then you got these two knuckleheads who were just, they're still,
Big.
they're big. They're big. You know, and Jared especially, it's like, you know, I'm in pretty good shape. I stay in pretty good shape. So I had to, you know, and then once again, my wife and daughter were on the set. They came up from LA to visit, and I had some blood on my shirt, so I had to change shirts. So I took my shirt off on the set, and my wife goes, "Oh, you look good," and she goes, "Let's get Jared in here and have him take his shirt off, and see how good you look." And I was kind of, yeah, I hate you.
Have you ever wondered where they get their ideas for fan fiction? You just nailed it.
You just the shipping thread for this one is
Well,
going to
it's-
be forever.
It's like, you know, I tell you, it's like I was leaving the set one day with my wife and daughter, and Jared comes walking off the set, out of the soundstage. He's got a shirt on, and as he's walking towards the car, and my wife and my daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, he just takes his shirt and he just goes. It just rips it off, and the guy is ripped. I mean, he's just, it's like, and I said, I hate you. I hate you so much.
He's 17 years old. That's why.
Exactly, you know, really, it's like, but it makes it so much, fun, because a lot of times it can be tedious, and they keep such a great, a great sense of humor about what they're doing, and I mean, we had a little bit of that on the X-Files. The X-Files was definitely more serious. I mean, David would get goofy every once in a while, and I would follow suit, but it's yeah, you've got these two guys who just love to have a great time, and it makes those long days bearable.
Fantastic. I think you guys probably have some questions for these guys. What do you think?
Nah.
Yeah? No?
Didn't they ask them all earlier?
That was piss poor. You guys want to ask questions or what? Thank you. So where's our mic runners? You guys are in spotlights.
Can I cut off the
Nice.
question for 1 second? Your story just reminded me of something else. I don't remember what, I was going to grab something out of Jensen's trailer, and I went and knocked on the door. We have this, it's sort of, you just knock and then you open the door. And I knocked and I opened the door, and Jared and Jensen and Sebastian were in there. I totally forgot about this. And Sebastian was standing there like this with Jared's ripped t-shirt in his hand, and Jensen and Sebastian had their shirts ripped off as well. And I walked in and they all just went. It was an amazing moment.
Did you get a picture?
I didn't get a picture, unfortunately, because I would have retired by now, had I. I could have made a mint off of that.
You got to be quick, man. You got to be quick with that stuff.
But it was really funny because they were kind of like, "What? Nothing. This is fine, normal, right?"
This is what we do.
There's a lot of artists here. I'm pretty sure that picture that wasn't taken is going to resurface sometime in the next few weeks on the internet somewhere. All right, go for it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Hi. I love the show. I'm sure that everybody who's here does. Just me. So my question, your characters are so complex, as you know, and I'm sure you're aware. Yeah, scoff it up, Mr. Crawley, whatever.
Is this what you're telling me about Canadian women?
I'll tell you a story.
Sorry, go on, please don't hit me.
I'm too far away. So how do you prepare for a character that's so complex, especially, I mean, when you have to do so many different things with the same character? How do you do that? How do you walk into it fresh? What do you do?
Think about the paycheck. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not.
I play the same thing over and over again anyway. So
I spent most of my time on the show playing, especially when Samuel came back, trying to figure out how I came back and why I was there. Other than trying, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out that character and what I was doing. But as far as making those transitions, it's just what we do. And hopefully it's successful, and sometimes it's not, and hopefully it usually is.
Mark, Misha?
Yeah.
Got
I
any
agree.
Ditto.
Stanislavski method stuff going on, or?
Yes. It's funny. I mean, stage actors spend weeks rehearsing and going over the line by line, the minutia of their characters and the motivations and the settings and the moments just before, and they have all kinds of time to flesh all of that out. But in television, you don't have that much time, especially if you're doing episodes back to back. And with Castiel's instance, he's going from being God in one episode to being a Leviathan in the next episode to being a psychotic in the next episode, and there's a lot of really rapid transitions. Another psychotic in the audience, and so a lot of it is a little bit more fly by the seat of your pants, and you don't really get a chance to rehearse things and see if they work. You just gotta show up and try it. And I mean, we don't get rehearsals really, so we just have to wing it, and that's why it comes out so terribly.
They told you that you were going to be a demon.
That's true.
So, was that a
Well, that's an
ridiculous
excellent
surprise?
example, though. So I came in, I prepared all night for an audition where I was going to play a demon. I don't think I'm bragging when I say that I did a better job of it than Mark does. And when I got in the room, I did it once as a demon, and then he said, okay, so we were lying. We didn't want it to get out there that it's an angel. It's an angel. Do it again, but now as an angel. So that's the amount of sort of preparation time that you have to ruminate on the material sometimes, and you just got to adapt.
And the more TV you do, the more you're used to making those quick changes, or they'll give you adjustments, or you make adjustments yourself, and you just kind of, for me, a lot of times it's just trying to remember my lines. That people go, God, what were you thinking about in that scene when you were doing that? I said, I was trying to remember my lines. You're welcome.
Hello, boys.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering if there was any show ideas that you guys haven't seen come into play that you would like to.
That's to you two.
You're like, I don't want to see any story ideas. Mark?
I don't have an idea.
Does it involve
my
Jared
God,
and Jensen
I haven't got a single
in the
idea in my
trailer
head.
with their shirts ripped
It
off?
involves. I know
I'm just
it
trying to remember
involves-
my lines.
It involves drag and singing. That's all I know. Yeah.
I mean, the trouble is that you guys keep talking about it like it's a show about anybody else but me. And I just can't work out why we haven't gone to the half-hour format and called it Oh Crowley, because that's what it should be.
Oh, Crowley.
That lovable rogue. And what is this dress? Who are you dressed as?
Castiel.
Oh no, I thought it was David Tennant. Sorry. Baby in a trench coat.
Nice sword, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay, on this side here in the green.
Hi, I'm a really big fan, but my question is for Mr.
You're
Collins.
not that big.
Kind of average.
My question is for Mr. Collins.
Mr.
Oh,
Collins.
I'm not accustomed to that form of address.
I'm the one who was talking about Slash.
I know who you are.
She got a cabin in the woods?
You were sitting right behind the farting section up front here.
Okay, I was wondering if your relationship with Dean falls through, would you have a potential love interest?
I think the groundwork has fairly obviously been laid for Crowley and Cass.
The emphasis on laid.
Yes. Yeah. Mark and I, we talked about that you have to fly by the seat of your pants as a television actor and all that, but the more preparation you do, the better your performance is. So Mark and I, the script hasn't come along yet that depicts this, but Mark and I spent a fair amount of time making out in our trailer just to rehearse what we know is sort of the inevitable outcome of this storyline. Right?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How do you stay polite under that kind of duress? Mr. Collins? Mom.
Firstly, I'd like to thank Misha for your facial expression in my photo.
What was my facial expression?
You're pretty much like WTF, what am I doing with Harley Quinn?
Okay,
It's like normal.
good. I'm glad that came across. Good, perfect.
And my question is, why did you guys audition for kind of the casting that you are, other than, you were a demon and then turned into an angel?
I'm sorry.
It's almost an existential question. Why did we audition for these parts? Did you audition, or were you just offered the part?
No, I was Kim Manners, who was one of our executive producers on the X-Files, called me up and asked me if I would do the role, and so just the
You said
opportunity.
no.
And I said no, and he goes, "Oh, come on." And I said, "Okay." But so to be able to work with Kim again, and before he passed away, was I really wanted to do that, and plus to go back up to Vancouver and work with that crew is something that I wanted to do. So, but I didn't audition for it. So there was no decision other than saying yes.
Mine was weird because it's exactly the same but different. Kim and I were quite close, and he'd always said to me, "You got to come do the show. You got to come do the show," and it never worked out. And I'd see him year after year. He's like, you love the boys, you love this stuff. It's great, it's great, it's great. And I was working with his brother Kelly, and when Kim was really sick, and Kim subsequently passed, and then this came up, and I could not go in for it. I had to. It was just like, you got to do it because that's just the way it's got to be. And it became, it went from a guest star shot to 4 years of hell. Literally. But it's the same thing. It's the same person.
For me, I had not watched the show. I didn't really know what the show was before coming onto it, but I had seen the posters on bus stops of Jared and Jensen sort of smoldering. And the audition came in, and I recognized the title of the show, and I thought, I've never done a soap opera before. Might as well give this a shot. So that's how I got there.
Fantastic. Oh, it's the girl in the purple again. I recognize you.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hi, okay. So if Supernatural offered you a role in a movie, would you do it? And Mark Shepard, Mark?
What? Mark? You sound like a dog with a hair lip.
You're the king of geek.
I'm the king of geek?
You are the king of geek.
Actually, it's a fair point.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
It's kind of the best thing to be. It used to be that this was a secret thing, We couldn't exactly fill out or half fill out old ice hockey stadiums with sci-fi or genre fans of any sort at all. And now, we've inherited the earth. And I think it's reflected, we all know it's reflected in the writers. It's the change in the writers, because it's us who are writing the shows that we love so much. It's just us with better jobs. But it's us, and it's the geeks who are writing the show. So you got the Ron Moores and Joss Whedons and everybody else. And with Jeremy now running the show, and these are all people that have the same sympathies and empathies that we do for story.
I'm going to tell him that you called him a geek.
He's a geek. I'll tell him himself he's a geek. He's absolutely a geek. He did Being Human, for God's sakes. What else could you be but a geek? But it's now a badge of honor. And the thing I've always said, the last thing I say about it, but the thing I've always said is that I think it's an amazingly brave thing to get dressed up and wear your fandom literally on your sleeve. I think it's the most fantastic thing. And I think it's just fabulous that people will come to conventions and expos and the rest of it and just show everybody what they love and cheer it up and enjoy it. And we'll keep taking pictures of it and cheering it, right? What was the question again?
If you were offered a part in a supernatural movie, would you accept it?
The movie? They couldn't make the movie without me. What the hell's wrong with you? I keep trying to inform. The show is about me, and it's occasionally interrupted by Gigantor the talking moose, and the squirrel, and a few other people, and the baby in a trench coat, and that's it. It is Rocky and Bullwinkle. Squirrel and moose is what I call them all the time.
Is it true that Jared and Jensen have terrible BO? Is that true?
BO?
That's the body odor.
Is that what you said? You said that?
This is what Misha tells me.
Their armpits are about 4 feet over my head, so I'd never know.
Were you lying to me in Edmonton, or?
Oh, I said that in Edmonton?
You said that in Edmonton.
Really?
That may not be entirely
He's going to get an
true.
ass kicking next season.
It's not that terrible. I mean, it's like maybe an 8. Not that bad at all.
8 on a scale of 10, is that what?
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 8.5, it's probably an 8.
I haven't been that close to
No,
them, so
they're all of their creases smell great.
All the crevices?
Jeez.
There you go. Yeah.
Hi, this message is for Mitch. It's to do with Dallas. How did you feel coming into an established show as opposed to your newer shows like Supernatural or X-Files, working with Larry Hagman and that stellar cast? And I want to say, you're part of Harris Ryland. You are becoming the JR of now because we're starting to hate you.
Thank you. Nobody will ever replace Larry Hagman. What's his name? No, Larry Hagman or JR. But thank you. I'm glad you watch it and appreciate it. I started out. I was telling these guys that I started out because I went to school in Texas in Austin and I used to drive up to Dallas and one of my first jobs was working as an extra on Dallas. So when I came onto the show the first season on the second go-around, Linda Gray came up to me and she said, we're really happy to have you on the show and blah, blah, blah. And I said, darling, I used to stand behind you as an extra 30 years ago on this show. And this is where I started. And then I had the great opportunity of moving to LA and I got to do a 4-episode arc with Larry. And so I got to work with him. This time on the second incarnation of the show, I didn't have an opportunity. They were planning on building a tremendous storyline between JR and Harris, and it didn't get to happen. So I didn't get to really work with Larry this time. But it's coming in and working with Patrick and Linda and Larry when he was there was just being around him was just tremendous. And I'm having so much fun playing this character. He's such a jerk and such a bad guy that it's just fun to play and fun to do, and I get to use my Texas accent, so it's cool. You bet.
Right.
Thank you.
If you had to pick, would you pick
Jared or Jensen?
In what context?
That felt like half a question.
who do you like better?
Oh, who do you like better?
Oh, that's
easy.
That's Misha. And Mark.
I don't like either of them.
Wouldn't that be great if you could go around in life and be like, of my coworkers, publicly I can say that I like Jared better. Jensen, not so much. Anyway, Jensen, if you're reading this on Twitter, I'll see you soon. That's brilliant. I mean, where do you go with that? How about you guys? Who do you like better?
Oh, God.
What's that?
Misha. Misha.
Good answer. What answer are you looking for here? Maybe you can just lead us more.
Like, if they were hanging off a cliff, who would you save?
Well, you don't need to save Jared.
Yeah,
He's
That's a really
Jared's
cold-blooded
got
question.
that. Fine, he's fine. He can do a one-handed pull-up and hoist himself back up again. Jensen, on the other hand.
There's nowhere to. You know what's really funny about this is that the great thing is that you go to these wonderful places all over the world, and these people who pretend to be fans come up to you and they ask you these wonderful questions. Hold on, no, bear with me. And it's like, Mark, we think you're really wonderful, and Misha, we really love you, and we think Castiel's really cool, and Mitch, you did a great job playing Samuel in the show, and it's really sad that you died. But what's it like working with Jared and Jensen? So I complained so much about this one time as I had people go up to them whenever they were doing a pitch. And it would be like, Jared, we really love you. Jensen, we really love you. But what's it like working with Mark Shepard? Without cracking a smile. It's on video. Without cracking a smile, it's like, short.
Hey, I kid you not, when I told my roommate's sister that you were coming to the show, there was some serious squeeing going on.
Squeeing. Oh, good. Thank God.
Squeeing, you guys know the squee.
I know. Yes, Canadian women.
All right, over here in the red shirt. Yeah.
Okay, nice to see you guys. Quick question.
Okay.
Have the three of you ever, either individually or as a group, conspired to get Jared and Jensen back for all the pranks they play?
Oh, you get him all the time.
No.
But we will now, thank you.
I like the idea of on-set conspiracies.
It's
It's like Survivor. You have to, you're
That's,
different
we,
from
yes, we formed an alliance.
The alliance,
And,
exactly. I see the next gag reel being made up. Get them sent off the island.
We've got time for one more question. There.
Maybe they should do Rochambeau to see who gets to ask the last question. Yeah. Hey. What's going on? What is this
They're
confabulation?
switching it up here.
Oh, you should have gotten in line earlier. Can you start waiting in line now for next year? Do you want to ask your question now, since you've been waiting so long?
Yeah, let's have her ask a question.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
the
There's
other
no
one is-
cutting. Wait, what about rock, paper, scissors? I thought you were going to do that.
Rock, paper, scissors, Spock, Blizzard.
Come on, leave it to a real game of skill.
We could have asked 5 questions by
Yeah.
now.
Come on, ask your questions.
Okay, yeah, what's your question? Go ahead and ask it. What's your question? Can you ask your question?
Come on, what's your question? Can't hear you. You have to speak up.
Go,
Can't
go,
hear
go.
you. What was it?
Hurry up. We
Come
have 10
on.
We have 10 seconds
Now.
left. Ask the question.
Now.
Go!
Time's up.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. You should have asked your question. All right,
Please don't make
go-
the
what-
attendees
okay.
cry.
Okay, what is your question?
I was
Seriously,
gonna
what is
ask,
it?
back in Edmonton,
In
we know
Edmonton?
a lot about, that's how long I've been
Why are
trying
you
to ask this
bringing that up?
question.
Don't bring up the past. Just ask the question.
No, but
Come on, we're on a
we
schedule
know
here.
a lot about why you've started Random Acts, but how does one actually go about starting a charity? How did Random Acts go from an idea to Giswes?
Gishwes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're not totally related or the same, but forgery is the short answer for you. I hope it was worth the wait.
Was it? What'd you say?
Now you're really happy you asked that, aren't you?
Was it worth the wait?
That was satisfying.
I've been told we've got another 5 minutes.
Should she
so-
get a question in too, since she was
Yeah.
waiting so patiently and didn't cut in line?
Thank you.
I recognize you.
Yeah.
I know who you are. Yeah, hi. How are you?
You're Canadian. It doesn't mean you know everybody.
I've seen you in Canada.
This question's for Misha. I just wanted to know what your favorite part about being.
Look what you did!
Yeah, what?
What's your favorite part about being a parent?
Oh. Mark could have answered that too. He's sort of a parent.
Well, you can
If
come
you can
back.
call what he does with his kids parenting.
And now back to the Crowley show.
Oh, Crowley.
How did they ever let us be parents? It's ridiculous.
I don't know.
Look at us. We're the most irresponsible people we know. If your friends were dangling off a cliff by their ankles, because we're the kind of people that would know people that would be hanging off the cliff by their ankles. See?
You
Our kids
guys-
are going to rebel by all becoming accountants and really normal people.
You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for coming out. Let's hear it, you guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.